Hello and welcome back to Living 757. Here at Living 757, we pride ourselves on being diverse and inclusive. In the way the world is going today, we find it of utmost importance to remember history. Today we have with us a professor of history from ODU to talk to us about the Holocaust Remembrance. Welcome, Annette.
Hi, how are you?
We're good. How are you?
Hi, how are you? Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Now, January 27th is International Holocaust Remembrance Day. What is the significance of that?
The significance is that in about 2005, the United Nations, through its United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, identified January 27th as Holocaust Remembrance Day. And that is associated with January 27th of 1945, when the Soviet Red Army liberated the concentration extermination camp Auschwitz-Birkenau. And that really was the moment when the world became aware of the horrific atrocities that had been committed because a young Soviet cameraman by the name of Alexander Vorontsov took film footage that you see today in just about every Holocaust documentary. And that newsreel footage was not only used at the Nuremberg trials as evidence, but it was also broadcast around the world.
Okay. Professor, yeah, this is a very interesting. Why do you choose to study the Holocaust?
Well, I think I'll tell you a story, actually. In 2013, I was in Paris with some of my students I had taken to study the Holocaust. We went to France and then we went to Poland. And we were meeting with a survivor. And at the end of our talk, he rolled up his sleeve and he showed us the numerical tattoo on his arm. His name was Jacques Altman, and he was in his late 80s. And when he did that, he grabbed my arm and he held on to me. And I have never felt such warmth and energy sort of surge through me, surge through the room. And clearly he was vesting us, my students, with memory, with the responsibility of memory, with a moment that we would remember after he was gone. And so in terms of, why I think studying the Holocaust is important, that story is powerful to me. It reminds me of what Elie Wiesel would say about teaching as advocacy. And Elie Wiesel really thought that you can awake ethical consciousness in students by what you do in the classroom. And that is to discuss critical thinking in terms of history and in terms of human nature and in terms of what it is, what racism, anti-Semitism, xenophobia is, why we must fight nationalism and authoritarianism, and why we must protect democracy. All of those things you can do in a classroom, and that's why I think Holocaust education is so important.
I really love that because I can see the passion in the way that I change your mind when you just explain the story. I love it.
Yeah, that's right, Dr. Finley. And you talked a lot about remembering and teaching. So here we are in the 21st century, right? Why is remembering the Holocaust so important right now?
Well, I think I will reference one of my favorite authors, Father Patrick Dubois, who's a Catholic priest, but also heads an international Holocaust education organization. And he has written that the quote is something to the extent of believing in humanity, believing in the human race is a great responsibility. And when he says that, what he really means, and he goes on to say, is that if you realize that you're a part of this human race, you must understand that this human race, that there are individuals that consider themselves good and have gone or can go out and shoot a 2-year-old baby out of its mother's arms and go home that night and still consider to be good. And so we have to constantly fight that. In terms of Holocaust education, what we're trying to do is create a global citizenry that is infused with responsibility for social justice, that is infused with responsibility to identify racism, anti-Semitism, and other forms of hatred where we see it and denounce it and work for that human good.
Okay. Yeah, this is a great topic. Thank you so much, Professor, for being with us today.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much.